Well, hey everyone, it's Marcus and welcome to more Zooming in the Jungle Room. It is, of course, still Fringe Festival time. I've got so much to get through. We can all do it together, yay. Zooming with me right now is Dusty Lee Stephensen. Hey, how are you, mister?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Of course, you are in the thick of 27 Club. Are you having a great time with it?
Yeah. It's such a good time. We all sort of had a moment the other day of like, whoa, that you kind of get this mid-season, I guess you get over the hump or whatever, and you can have a moment where I think it's different this year because we do have a few people sort of coming in and out. With Rachel at the moment filling in for Carla, things like that. So it does keep us on our toes a bit more. We don't really get that complacent, like 12 shows in, start where you can start making some silly mistakes because you're doing it night after night. You know it so well that you can start to kind of go into more of a subconscious fall asleep at the wheel type
Yeah.
thing. But that's not happening this time. I mean, it's hard for that to happen in this show anyway because we there's so much kind of danger in it. A danger in terms, I mean, Sarah calls it that sex and danger, but like in terms of we find lots of little moments to jump off the cliff and to sort of keep it so that it's whoa, I did that, like, or someone will chuck in some sort of new line or do something they hadn't done the night before. So there's always that sort of stuff going on. So we do manage to keep ourselves entertained up there as well as the audience. Um, so yeah,
It really
yeah.
is a good show. I mean, it's spectacular. I saw it last year, and obviously have been back a couple of times this year already as well. But I mean, we'll get onto the music in a minute, but the lineup, the musicians that we've got on stage are just electric. Like you just said, Carla Lippis is there. We've got Sarah McLeod from the Super Jesus, iconic, and Kevin Mitchell as well. And then of course yourself, and then a couple of people that come in and out. Just amazing lineup. How have you found working with these people that you have been working with for a few years now?
Well, I knew it was going to be I knew that it was going to be a blast working with the band. It's like it's my band. How it originally Zach originally approached me, the show's producer, he really wanted a band dynamic to be. He didn't want it to feel like a show that was, some jazz musicians reading charts and playing their way through Nirvana songs kind of thing. Nothing against jazz musos, but you know what I mean? Like, he wanted it to sound like a band that had kind of, you know, bloody held each other's hair back on the road,
Yeah.
when yeah, slept together, cried together, partied together, all that sort of stuff, which me and my band Wanderers, and with our music and with the touring that we've gotten to do over the years between here and the US and the UK and Europe, and we've got all those stories too, so which might bring it closer to the kind of energy required to do the music of bands that had that. I mean, obviously on a much bigger scale, but they were in each other's pockets when they wrote this music and spent all this time together. So there was so much more than just notes and lyrics being sung. It was like an energy that was being shared between these people. And I think us being the backing band meant that this show has that component as well, which it does. That totally works. So I always knew that was going to work well with the band itself. The thing that was such a not pleasant surprise, but just worked out as well as it possibly could was that yeah, working with Sarah and Kevin and Carla, I knew how extraordinary Carla was, and we have done some things together in the past, so I knew it was going to be great working with her as well. But just the kind of the stew of things just were really working to be the best recipe possible. That's not really something we could have predicted. You can go on paper, it works, but it also could be chaos. You don't know whose personality is going to butt heads with who, and who might have more of an ego than you realize until you meet them. And there's none of that really at all. It's just everyone just supports each other and everyone gets it what each other's doing and firing each other up every night to do the best show possible.
It comes across just so well. It looks like there is amazing chemistry up on stage and authentic chemistry as well. Another thing I find really great about the show is obviously working in that venue, which is the Fantail in Gluttony. That open air space. It's just got that incredible stadium kind of feel.
Yeah.
Suits that style perfectly, right?
Yeah, it allows us to practice all the rock moves, which is sort of like, and this year we're like seeing how many more we can fit in. It's like, well, I already 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 fall into a dive roll at some point. Or Sarah will jump off the kick drum, off the drum riser, but she's like, but we did that last year. It's like, let's find some other ones. Like there's some now me and Cam do this thing. We're sort of getting up on the crowd barrier with our feet while we do this guitar duel together. And, I play the guitar behind my head. And there's all these other things that are like that you can do Pete Townsend moments, and you can have, I mean, Kevin, now we've added in Breed, which is like a real gnarly Nirvana song. And that's, it's nice to have something in there that's not just for the people that have only ever heard Teen Spirit on the radio. It's like there's some bits in there that are really for the fans. And that is one of those moments, Breed, this Nirvana song. And Kevin just like, this us putting this song in has enabled him to just kind of unleash. He chucks his guitar down halfway through because it comes out of another song, and then he just launches, and he's like jumping around, and you can tell he's just grown up loving that song, and he kind of completely lets it engulf him for that 3 minutes. And so those sorts of moments are great.
Of course,
and they're not in the script.
Go off script. I like it. 27
Yeah.
Club, obviously pretty much everyone would know what that is about, but it is clearly Jopiln, Winehouse, Cobain, Morrison, Hendrix, all the artists, the massive artists that died when they were 27. When you're putting the show together and selecting the songs, were there any particular songs that you were like, yeah, I need to personally do that one?
I think, and Zach again was quite instrumental with all of this. Like once I was on the gig and became the musical director, not officially at first, but I was the person rustling the band, and then a couple of years later I got that title as well. But so from the beginning I was discussing things like he already had a set list and the arc of the show, and so some of the key things like actually this season we haven't been, but previously we've been opening with Purple Haze, Jimi Hendrix, and that's a great way to have the band out there and then have other people come out and we start going into their songs, and then once everyone's out on stage it's all chaos. But he kind of had that idea of that arc, and then having that dip in the middle where we do that version of Lithium that Carla and Rachel at the moment does, which is kind of based on an arrangement. There was a version of this show at the Adelaide Festival in 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there.
Yep.
That was very different, and it had a narrator. Henry Wagons was narrating it, and there was a Daniel Champagne was in the show, and Haley Mary from the Jezebels, and but it was very different. It was like really made more for the theater, and it was more about the narrative. It was less of a rock show in that way. But so I think some of the set list that we're doing now was still from that, and what they saw worked there and what didn't make the cut. So, and then it also along the way we've stuck in stuff that we just know the band's going to kill and that's going to work really well. But yeah, I think Zach had in mind, like I think he thought I'll get Kevin from Jebediah because I think he'll be perfect for the Nirvana stuff and the Kurt Cobain stuff, really bring that grunge, that authentic 90s grunge element to it, which he has. And Sarah, she's got that gravelly in her voice that's perfect for Janice. And Carla's got the she's such an all-rounder, but years of experience on doing the cabaret and things in that world, but in the dark late night edgy way, not just in the hello, here we are. She's kind of she's a badass in that way as well. So I think he always had in mind who might do what. And then he'd heard me sing and with my band Wanderers and stuff. So figured I'd be on top of the Hendrix, and I fell into a bunch of the Doors stuff as well. And we've just kind of they're not specifically our roles. It's not like, oh, you have to do Janice and you have to do that and that. Obviously we're sort of jumping around doing different things, but there is certain things that we tend to do the best. And so yeah, I don't know if I particularly chose doing those songs, but I'm glad that that's what that they're the ones that we're doing. They work really well.
Obviously this is been playing at the Fringe for a few years now. What do you think is what it is about the show that keeps people coming back for more?
Well, people keep buying tickets.
Yeah.
We see the arc of it I think the aim is like if you do a Fringe season, and the first time you do 8 shows, and second time you come back and you do 12, and third time you do 18.
Yeah.
Like this is the fourth year, is the natural progression to just go, well, let's stop tickling the rim and let's just dive all the way in. It's like we've got a whole season here. Let's do it. Let's see if we can pull it off. Let's see if we can be here for a whole month and people not get sick of us. And this is it. This is the third week, and we've just had our busiest Tuesday and Wednesday night ever. I mean, now previously we haven't had any of the lulls like we had previously. Like we would have the quietest audience could be between 80 and 100 people on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, and that's quite a big venue to only have sort of 80 people scattered around.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. We would have a couple of those in previous years on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night, but I mean, we had over 400 or 500 the last two nights. They're the quiet nights, so
That's good.
it's definitely still building. And I think once you're here and you stay, and then people keep hearing about it and word of mouth, and so yeah, doing the season now feels right for us. And I think we'll come back and do it again. And then each time we have an opportunity to make the show bigger and better. And I think with more confidence that there's going to be people coming every year, it means we can invest more in the production side of it, and other components as well. So it's definitely, yeah, it's not like we would ever just come back and just chuck on the same show again and just for the pure sake of doing it. I think there's always some sort of growth in it for us as well.
Of course. And you know what? I mean, with that, it's not a show that you would see once and be like, yeah, that's it. I'm done and dusted now. It's definitely a show that you can come back and see again. Like I said, I've seen it 3 times now. And it's a show that just, I mean, the set list is just incredible, and so it's definitely just like going to see a band a good few times. You wouldn't get sick of it. It's a good show.
Yeah, and there's always something different happening every time.
Totally. So. Energy. Now, what do you love about being involved in the Adelaide Fringe?
Well, I mean, it's I'd be involved as a punter regardless. So having to be there and getting to be there, sorry, every day, and to be peering behind the curtain the whole time. Because I've been on both sides. Like I had years ago, I was involved with the Fringe, and that was when the artist bar was like freaking amazing. So there'd be these like wild after parties, and they had table tennis and this dance floor, and the culture of that has changed a little bit. I think that it might be back to that sort of fun now with the new spot they've got it. But yeah, there was this period there where if you had an artist pass, you could get into this secret bar that was in the Garden of Unearthly Lights. Like you were in for a hell of a time, and everyone's trying to get hold of these passes. And so it was like, and I guess I was at a different point in my life too. So I was really enjoying what was happening after all the Fringe shows, and just having a ball. And I don't know, like me and my partner started dating 5 years ago now during the Fringe. So it's kind of such a big part of, I don't know, Adelaide just lights up. So for me personally, those are my personal reasons, but just generally Adelaide is just, we got WOMAD, it's Fringe, it's everything's happening. So to be there, to have a pass where you can go see your friends performing and support their shows, and everyone's giving it their best. Everyone's out there just doing what they do. Yep. And everyone's checking it out, and it's you can't go wrong. So being involved is great.
Bloody crazy, right? Good time to be here. Like you said, we've got.
I always think it would be. I imagine the idea of somebody coming to Adelaide for the first time at the beginning of March, and just going, oh my God, and falling in love with the place and deciding to move here on an impulse, and then only 2 months later, just kind of like, what happened?
Where did everybody go?
Where is everyone? Yeah.
Dusty Lee Stephensen, I know you need to go and get ready for the show tonight, which is on in just a couple of hours. Obviously, everyone, it's Gluttony, where it is appearing, 27 Club. And if we flick to page 33, you'll see it right up there with a picture.
That's me. That's me right there with the blonde hair and
with the lovely short cut there. So get onto it, guys. It is playing, like I said, at the Gluttony in the Fantail until the 17th of March. So get along. Like Dusty Lee Stephensen said, the tickets have been going really well. Get out, get amongst it.
So yeah, it's going that well that you should probably get on it sooner than later, because I do think some of them might sell out. And we do have a late night show as well. I can't remember which night it is. I think it's either this Friday or next Friday. It might be next Friday. But the
Okay.
late night one, we did one last weekend, and it's great. It's like proper debaucherous rock show. It's a standing audience, and you know, we've got all the extra lighting and all that stuff going on. So I highly recommend anybody who's up for a dance to come to that show. 10:45 on one of the dates. It's in there somewhere.
I will be there. You know that.
Yeah.
Dusty Lee, absolutely amazing chatting with you. All the best with the rest of the run. We've still got another week and a couple of days to go. I hope it is an absolutely brilliant season for you. And I look forward to seeing you at a show very soon. Thanks, Dusty Lee Stephensen.